Here's Donald Trump. Brendan, can we do this? Can we play this, or are you able to?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, let's play clip number 2, and then we'll have Feldman call in on the phone system, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's play clip number 2. This is Donald Trump saying that he really doesn't want to wait for election results. That's too hard on him. Right now, I will say this, that I would imagine news organizations, cable television news, trying to figure out how they're going to handle this, because there's a lot of reason to believe that we're not going to get the results of an election until days later. And I can tell you, I've been through one of these back in 2020. It is the year 2000. It's a nightmare, and it makes things very unstable and potentially, it makes the outcome very, very unpredictable, because narratives get built, and then maybe Supreme Courts decide that they're going to interfere in one way or another. But here's Donald Trump.
An election. I'd love to see voter ID, but this is the opposite of voter ID. The Democrats love it. The Republicans hate it. We all agree that absentee voting is good. Mail-in ballots will lead to the greatest fraud. You know, we talk about Russia, Russia, Russia for 2.5 years, and then they found nothing, and there was nothing. But they talk Russia, Russia, Russia. They talk China. They talk all of these countries. They say they get involved in our elections. This is easy. You can forge ballots. This is much easier for foreign countries. Go ahead, Steve.
But delay in the election is probably a non-starter. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I just feel I don't want to delay. I want to have the election. But I also don't want to have to wait for 3 months and then find out that the ballots are all missing and the election doesn't mean anything. That's what's going to happen, Steve. That's common sense. And everyone knows it. Smart people know it. Stupid people may not know it. And some people don't want to talk about it.
Oh, my God.
But they know it. And no, we want to have an election where people actually go in and what's your name? My name is so-and-so. Boom, you signed the book like I've been doing for years. It's very, very unfair to our country. If they do this, our country will be a laughingstock all over the world because everyone knows it doesn't work.
Who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them about the whole laughingstock thing?
It's pretty amazing that it's going to be common sense that we won't be able to hold an election is like something you can say as president that is a defense of how you should remain president.
Yeah, and like who's the they here? Like, who's the they that is doing this? Right? Like, who's the they? But what first off, Russia. Well, all of the investigations, including the Republican-led Intelligence Committee, said that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. I don't know if it was determinative or not. There's a lot of things that led to Clinton losing. And about, 15 out of the 16 had to do with her campaign or, maybe some of them are out of her control, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the Russia thing was a finding by the Republican Senate Intelligence Committee. Let's just make that clear. But the idea of it being common sense that it's going to be possible for Russia or anybody else to fraudulently submit these ballots is absurd. We've already talked about that. Here's a guy who's laying the premise for his followers that the election is going to be illegitimate. That is all that's going on there. Period. End of story. Nothing else. This is, we have a knee-jerk reaction of like, let's assess this like we are sane, relatively rational, intelligent people and assess it based upon how ridiculous it sounds. I think that's a mistake. I really do. I think it's like people have to move into the mode of like, he's doing something consciously now with that. He knows what he's doing. and he is laying the groundwork. He may be crazy, but he is laying the groundwork to say the results of this election are suspect.
Yeah, and
Period.
It doesn't have to be across, the entire, country. It just has to be a few counties in states where Mitch McConnell has appointed, X number of conservative judges and run it up the ladder of the judiciary.
Exactly. I mean, it is, it is the case that if, they lose Texas and, Arizona and Florida and Ohio, okay, it's going to be much harder to argue. But if it's even, if it's one of those things where there's like 2 or 3 states, people just better just like mentally start to prepare for this stuff.